Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel today. I'm back after a long time to discuss with you the MCQ questions. The MCQ questions which came in the last year exam. So, MCQ question plays a very vital role in scoring marks. Okay, so if you talk about MCQ questions, like we have 20 questions altogether in both the sections, that is macro and Indian economy. So let us discuss first about the macroeconomics part. I'll discuss 10 questions most probably today in my class, okay? And I'll try to make you understand about the meaning, like what happens in each questions. Okay, you see question number one here. Under the Das exchange rate system, the central bank control the foreign exchange in a range bound manner. Okay, so if you talk about this question, okay, you see we have only three types of exchange rate system, okay, in our book. That is fixed, flexible, and managed floating. So if you talk about fixed exchange rate system, you know that fixed exchange rate system are those which are controlled or managed by the government. So that should not be the answer. The second one is exchange rate is determined by flexible exchange rate also, but flexible exchange rate are those which are determined by the demand and supply. So nowhere in the question it is mentioned about demand and supply. And the last one, that is managed floating, this exchange rate system, is managed, it is a hybrid model, as I told you earlier also. So it is a hybrid model, that is it is determined by both fixed and flexible, okay. So in the managed floating system, there is always a range bound manner, okay. The exchange rate is set between 80 to 90, and the limit is set between 80 and 90. So if it is fluctuating, between 80 to 90 because of demand and supply, so there will be no intervention from the RBI. But if it crosses 90 or if it falls below 80, RBI will intervene here and they will manage the exchange rate system. So here in the question you can see very clearly it is mentioned about the central bank controlling the foreign exchange rate in a range bound manner. So if they are talking about range bound manner, the correct answer will be managed floating, that is option C. Coming to question number two, okay, read the following statement, assertion and reasoning, and we have to choose the correct one. See the assertion. It is telling direct taxes are imposed on income profit of individual companies. Of course, correct, because direct taxes, are those taxes, okay, which cannot be shifted to anyone else. Okay, the direct taxes are those which are borne by the person on whom it is imposed. So assertion is correct. Okay, if I am earning income, the taxes will be imposed on me, and I have to pay the taxes. I cannot shift to anyone else. Okay, if a company is making a profit out of his firm, he need to pay the corporation tax to the government. So the company cannot shift the burden of tax to anyone else, and the reason is telling that the burden of payment of direct taxes cannot be shifted to any other entity. Yes, the direct taxes, already I told you in the definition, the burden of taxes of direct taxes cannot be shifted. Indirect taxes, yes, you can shift the burden to someone else, but the burden of tax in direct tax cannot be shifted to anyone else. So here, if you see, both the assertion and reasoning are correct, and R is the correct explanation of assertion. Coming to question number three, under the Keynesian theory, okay, the John Maynard Keynes, okay, the reference line is a straight line passing through the origin drawn at an angle of. So, we have only one type of degree that is discussed in the whole chapter, that is about demand and supply. If you see here, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and there is a line which is passing through the center, okay, this line makes an angle of 45 degree, which is known as aggregate supply or income line, okay. So we are discussing about this particular line which is passing through the origin. So the correct option out here in the question will be option C, that is 45 degree. Coming to question number 4, okay. Question number 4 is giving two statements, okay. First statement is MPC refers to the consumption per unit of income. No, MPC cannot be called as, okay, refers to consumption per unit. It is, it is a change. MPC always discusses about the change that is happening in income and consumption. Okay, if income is increasing, from say from 100 to 200, the consumption also will increase, say 20 to 60. Okay, so we can see here both are changing. So these are talking about the changes. The word marginal itself tells about the additional, or it tells about the changes that is occurring. Okay, so here if you see, the income has increased from 100 to 200, 100 to 200, the consumption also increases from 20 to 60. Okay, so this is talking about change, and the question is asking you that MPC refers to the consumption per unit of income. No, it's never saying C by Y. Okay, if you talk about C by Y, APC talks about C by Y. So APC is the ratio between consumption and income. Marginal change is never talking about, it always change, it talks about the change that is occurring between income and consumption. Okay, and here if you see the statement 1, MPC refers to the, okay, MPC refers to the consumption per unit of income. No, it's not correct. And statement 2, as the income increases, the proportionate increase in level of consumption is more than the increase in the level of income. No, this statement is also wrong. Why this statement is wrong? Because as income will increase, there will be increase in both income as well as consumption. But increase in income will always be greater than increase in consumption. Okay, consumption never increases more. You see this example, the income is increasing from 100 to 200. What is the increase in income here? The increase in income is 100 here. Okay, but the consumption will not increase in the same manner like income has increases. Okay, so here income has increased from 100 to 100, you cannot expect here also to increase in the same ratio. Okay, according to Keynesian, psychological law of consumption, they say that if income increases, consumption also increases, but not in the same manner. Increase in income will always be greater than increase in consumption. Okay, so if you look at the option here, okay, both the statement 1 and 2 are false, and it is given of question number 4. See the question number 5. The main objective of measuring the primary deficit is to highlight present what? The main objective of measuring the primary deficit. How many types of deficit we have talked about in budget? There are 3 types of deficit. Okay, so primary deficit is to highlight present fiscal imbalance. Okay, if there is a fiscal imbalance, fiscal means what? The revenue and expenditure policy of the government is called fiscal policy. Okay, so if there is a fiscal imbalance, the primary deficit. Okay, the main objective measuring the primary deficit is to highlight present fiscal imbalance. So remember this question number 5. Coming to question number 6, if you see question number 6, there are 2 statements again. Import of heavy machinery from Japan is a source of demand. And statement 2 is telling financial aid of IBRD for landslide in Wenat is a source of supply of foreign exchange. Okay. So here, import of heavy machineries. Import means bringing something from outside to your country. So if you're importing heavy machineries from Japan, automatically you will demand for foreign exchange, because the payment that you are going to make for this heavy machinery, you will be making in terms of foreign exchange. Okay, you will be making in other currency, not in rupees. So you will demand here foreign exchange. Okay, you will demand foreign exchange for this. Okay, and statement 2, financial aid by IBRD, okay, which is known as International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, for landslide in Wayanad, Kerala, is a source of supply. Yes. So if the foreign exchange is coming as a financial help from IBRD, the foreign exchange is coming to your country. Okay. So it is a source of supply for us. Okay, because the grants and donations are coming to your country, it is a source of foreign exchange, and therefore here the option, if you check, option C is correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are true. Okay, so both the statement you see here are correct. Coming to question number 7, okay, in a two-sector economy, the aggregate demand can be determined by what? So in a two-sector economy, in a two-sector economy, aggregate demand, if you talk, aggregate demand becomes what? Aggregate demand plus C plus I. Okay, C plus I, consumption expenditure, investment expenditure. And in the open economy, I have told you, aggregate demand means C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay. So consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure, and export and import. So this is called open economy, and this aggregate demand is called two-sector economy. So according to question, okay, if you see the consumption and investment, consumption expenditure, option A is correct.